security. And it's all because of my friend here. So there's wonder about their future. So the still remain very, very deep.
Bamyan, Afghanistan. Since the late 90s, there has been a hole in the soul of this community. A site carved into the mountains where Buddhas, hundreds of years old, were destroyed by the Taliban government, who labeled them idol worship. There is a new Taliban government in power today, promising a new Afghanistan. Already one of the poorest nations on earth, the government is fighting a new battle: drought, poverty, and widespread hunger. His name is just Zia, a simple man with simple needs, and at the top of that list, putting food on the table for his family.
We can afford food, but it is hard. If I don't work, we cannot eat. I have to work from morning until nightfall.
Lunch is bread and tea. And like so many Afghans, Zia's family faces a daily struggle to eat. 2 of his 3 children were recently hospitalized for malnutrition, including his youngest, who's 4 and very small for that age.
I noticed he was not eating and was getting dizzy and very lazy, not moving very much. We took the younger one to the hospital yesterday, and the older one last year.
Packets of nutrient supplements provided by the hospital fill tiny bellies, but it's a short-term fix. A staggering 90% of Afghans are simply not getting enough to eat, and nearly 50% so malnourished, the UN says they suffer from acute hunger. It's been a tough year for the people of Afghanistan, but if you walk through a market like this one in Bamyan, or really any other city, you'll find all kinds of fresh fruit and vegetables. The problem is people don't have enough money to buy it, and they're complaining about high prices. Local officials tell us that about 90% of the people in this area live below the poverty level. And they say, if they're lucky, they'll get meat, vegetables, or fruit about 1 time a month. Without protein and some semblance of a balanced diet, families live off bread, rice, and some potatoes. All too often, their children end up here. It is the malnutrition ward at the Bamyan Provincial Hospital. Doctors see too many infants and children they call wasted.
It means that just we see the skin and the bone like that. Yes, and when we see the face of the children, it is called as a monkey face. The figure is changed there. And when we are removing the clothes of the patient, we can count the ribs.
The crowded waiting room tells the story. Scared mothers and desperately hungry children.
We have about 70% increase in malnutrition among women, 70% in our hospital. About 40% in moderate malnutrition and 30% in severe malnutrition. It is a big increase.
And a big problem.
The
nurse implores this young mother to cook potatoes or chickpeas for her child, but it is a promise the mother cannot make. More than 1 million Afghan infants could die this year because of malnutrition. To put that in perspective, about 250,000 Afghans, civilian and military, died in the 20-year war. Amina Rahmani was married at 20, and by the time she was 24, had 2 children. She says she used to love to gaze at her 15-month-old. Now, Rahmani sees a child wasting away.
When I look at him now, he is really skinny. I did not eat much when I was pregnant, and he didn't either.
I'm afraid his future does not look good.
As for the Taliban's first year in power, she says this has been the worst year for her ever. No jobs, no money, no food, just heartbreak.
This is the worst year, worse than all the others. People are starving. My husband has a shop, but it is not going well. We only eat rice at home, no meat or vegetables. You cannot even find potatoes in our house.
Every province in Afghanistan is suffering, in part because foreign donations used to account for an estimated 70% of Afghanistan's operating budget. That money dried up once the U.S. left and the Taliban seized control. The Taliban says it has brought security to the country, but the harsh reality remains. Few outside nations want anything to do with the Taliban, and as a consequence, many malnourished people. Dr. Ahmadi would like to say the Bamiyan region and all of Afghanistan will see brighter days, but he can't.
Actually, the future of Afghanistan is something that is not clear for any Afghan who is living in here, even me and anyone else. Afghanistan security means just to be alive. It means that you would not be killed, to be alive.
Many here have survived generations of fighting. But fighting hunger from within its borders and apathy from outside could prove too much for so many in need. Sean Caleb's CGTN, Bamiyan, Afghanistan.